7-year-old Maya sat cross-legged on the living room floor, her brow furrowed in concentration as she carefully brushed the long golden hair of her favorite doll. The doll had blue eyes, a button nose, and pale skin that gleamed under the soft afternoon light. Maya smiled at her work, satisfied that she'd finally perfected the doll's ponytail. "Maya, dinner's ready," her mother, Aaliyah, called from the kitchen. "Coming," Maya chirped, though she didn't move right away. Instead, she held her doll up to the light and admired it, her tiny hands smoothing out its pale pink dress. After a few more seconds, she gently placed the doll down and hurried into the kitchen. Her parents, Aaliyah and Marcus, were already seated at the table, plates of steaming food in front of them. Maya climbed into her seat, swinging her legs under the table. "How was school today, sweetheart?" Aaliyah asked, her warm eyes crinkling with a smile. "It was fun. Mrs. Jenkins read us a story about astronauts." Maya beamed. "That's great. Maybe one day you'll go to space yourself," Marcus said, grinning as he passed her a bowl of mashed potatoes. Maya giggled, but the conversation quickly shifted as the family settled into their routine of dinner chat. However, Aaliyah couldn't help but notice the doll Maya had brought to the table, sitting nearby on the living room floor. It wasn't the first time she had seen Maya playing with a white doll, but recently it seemed like the only kind of doll Maya wanted. Aaliyah exchanged a subtle glance with Marcus, her smile faltering for just a moment. Marcus caught the look but didn't say anything. They both knew what it meant. This was becoming a pattern, and neither of them could ignore it any longer. After dinner, as Maya was busy getting ready for bed, Aaliyah sat down beside Marcus on the couch, her heart heavy with unease. "Did you notice it again?" Aaliyah asked, her voice quiet. Marcus nodded, leaning back against the couch and rubbing his hand over his face. "Yeah, that's the third time this week." Aaliyah sighed. "It's not just the dolls, Marcus. Remember when we went shopping last weekend?" She refused to even look at the black dolls on the shelves. She only wanted the white ones. Marcus stared at the ceiling, trying to process it all. "Do you think she understands what that means? She's so young." "I don't know," Aaliyah replied, her voice trembling slightly. "But it hurts. We've always tried to teach her to be proud of who she is, proud of her blackness. So why does she only want dolls that look nothing like her?" The question hung in the air, heavy and painful. Aaliyah's thoughts raced back to her own childhood, growing up in a world that didn't always celebrate black beauty. She remembered how her mother had taken the time to explain to her why she should love her dark skin, her coiled hair, and the full lips that made her feel different when she was young. She had promised herself that when she had children, she would make sure they knew how beautiful they were, no matter what the world said. But now, watching Maya reject the dolls that looked like her, Aaliyah wondered if she had failed. The next day, Aaliyah and Marcus decided to address the issue. They had no choice but to confront the uncomfortable truth that was slowly unfolding in their household. After school, they sat down with Maya in the living room, her collection of dolls spread out on the carpet around her. "Maya, we need to talk about something," Aaliyah began gently, sitting down beside her daughter. Maya looked up from her dolls, her bright brown eyes full of curiosity. "What is it, Mommy?" Aaliyah hesitated, her heart pounding in her chest. "We've noticed that all of your dolls, well, they all look the same. They all have light skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Why don't you play with the dolls that have brown skin like yours?" Maya blinked, confused. "I don't know. I just like these dolls better." Marcus leaned forward, his voice soft but firm. "But why, Maya? You're beautiful just the way you are. Don't you think it's important to have dolls that look like you too?" Maya shifted uncomfortably, glancing down at the doll in her hand. She didn't understand why this was such a big deal. To her, the white dolls were just prettier. They had long, smooth hair that she could brush easily, and their clothes were fancier. The black dolls, with their curly hair and darker skin, didn't seem as exciting. "I just think these dolls are prettier," she said finally, her voice small. Aaliyah's heart clenched. There it was, the word she had feared most. Prettier. The idea that even at such a young age, Maya had already internalized the belief that beauty was something she didn't possess, at least not in the way the dolls in her hands did. Tears welled up in Aaliyah's eyes, but she blinked them back, trying to stay calm. Maya, do you think that girls who look like you aren't pretty? Maya frowned, not understanding why her parents seemed so upset. I think I'm pretty. I just like these dolls more. Aaliyah couldn't hold back any longer. The tears spilled over, and she quickly wiped them away, not wanting to upset Maya further. But the pain was too deep, too raw. Marcus wrapped his arm around her shoulders, his own eyes misting over. He had always believed that raising their daughter with love, confidence, and pride in her identity would be enough. But now, sitting here with his heart breaking, he realized that the world outside their home was whispering to Maya in ways they hadn't anticipated. Aaliyah took a deep breath, her voice shaking as she spoke. Maya, you are beautiful just the way you are. Your skin, your hair, everything about you is perfect. You don't need to look like anyone else to be pretty. Maya nodded slowly, but it was clear she didn't fully understand. She was too young to grasp the deeper implications of what her parents were saying. Marcus squeezed Aaliyah's hand, then turned to their daughter with a soft smile. Maya, we're going to do something special this weekend, okay? We're going to find a new doll together. One that looks just like you. One that's beautiful, just like you. Maya smiled, though there was still confusion in her eyes. Okay, Daddy. That Saturday, the family drove to a toy store in the neighboring city, one known for having a more diverse selection of toys. As they walked through the aisles, Aaliyah couldn't help but notice how the shelves were still dominated by white dolls, despite the growing awareness around representation. But they found a section dedicated to dolls of color, and Aaliyah's heart swelled with hope. Maya, look, Aaliyah said, pointing to a row of dolls with dark skin, curly hair, and bright, colorful outfits. Maya studied the dolls for a moment, her expression thoughtful. Aaliyah and Marcus held their breath, waiting for her reaction. Finally, Maya reached out and picked up a doll with deep brown skin and dark curls that cascaded down her back. The doll wore a sparkly purple dress, her smile wide and confident. Maya turned the doll over in her hands, inspecting it carefully. She's pretty, Maya said softly. Aaliyah felt a lump rise in her throat. Do you want to take her home? Maya nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Yeah, I like her. Tears filled Aaliyah's eyes again, but this time they were tears of relief. It was just a small step, but it was a start. A start to helping Maya see her own beauty. A beauty that didn't need to conform to the images she saw in the world around her. As they left the store, Aaliyah and Marcus exchanged a glance, their hearts still heavy, but filled with hope. The journey wasn't over, and they knew they had to keep teaching Maya that her beauty, her worth, and her identity were something to cherish. But as they watched their little girl proudly carry her new doll out of the store, they knew they were moving in the right direction. For now, that was enough. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I put a lot of love and care into telling these important stories, and your support means the world to me. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Have a blessed day.